Hi, this is Tracy from Gift Basket Appeal, and today we're going to be doing some Mod Podge on tiles. And not only are they a great gift, but they're really easy and fun to make. We're going to be using Maymay Made It stamp set, and this set is called A Bushel and a Peck. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to need is your 4x4 tile. And the cool thing about these tiles is that they're 17 cents at Lowe's. So that's what I got these for, and I had bought several of them. So how economical is that to make a great gift? And I'm going to list everything that you need in the description box below. So the back of the tile looks like this, and what I did was I took some felt and I'm going to go ahead and glue it onto the back. And so I'm just using, this is just a glitter glue, but I love the way it sticks. So we're just going to put some of this just around here. Try not to go too close to the edges, because when you put the felt on, some of it will come out of the sides. So the felt, I cut just a little bit smaller, than the actual tile. And that just adds a nice little backing to it. And so you want to do this part first. And that's what it should look like when you're done. Before you start decorating your tile, or I should say adding Mod Podge to your tile, you want to go ahead and have your papers ready. So I thought these were really cute papers because they have kind of the fall-like colors, and I think they're going to look really nice when I actually put the stamps on them. So we're going to use this one first. So before we add our decorative paper to the tile, we're going to go ahead and stamp it. And I'm going to use the Black Crow, but I'm not actually going to stamp it black. I'm going to stamp it brown. And I'm also going to use A Bushel and a Peck. So these two I'm going to use to decorate. All right, so I'm going to put this on my stamp block. Make sure that's nice and straight. And as you can see, I've already been using it a pretty good amount of time. And I'm going to make this brown. I'm just going to turn it around so I can see a little bit better. And you just want to make sure I line that up in the center. And that looks really good. And the ink that I'm using is a brown ink from Craft Smart. So can you see that? Looks really good. And I'm going to put the crows in each corner, one in each corner. To make sure I line that up. That looks really good. Wow, look how nice and smooth that stamp goes on. See if you can see that. I'm really loving it. All right, and now that is ready to be Mod Podged onto the tile. So we're going to take our Mod Podge and just spread it on evenly. You don't need a whole lot because the paper is pretty light. And I like to go in one direction, one smooth direction. Make sure this is lined up real good. Make sure your hands are clean. And the thing I like is that the ink dries pretty quickly. And that's on there. And now on this next layer, we're going to actually add the pumpkins. I'm going to use this medium-size pumpkin. I think it's really cute. There's also another style of pumpkin, and then there's this little itty-bitty pumpkin right here. So you have different options with this bushel and peck stamp. But I'm going to use this one right here. And so I like the fact that this is a clear stamp because I want a border around it. So I'm going to take my black ink, and this is Tim Holtz Distress Ink in Black Soot. And I'm just going to go ahead and stamp. I'm going to need 2 pumpkins for my tile, so I'm going to stamp 2 pumpkins, and then I'm going to go ahead and color it in. Okay, I'm going to do another one because I need better coverage than that one right there, but I could still use that later on. I'm not throwing anything away. All right. And it's always good to have lots of wipes handy because you're using so much ink, and you also want to make sure that you're wiping off your stamps. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and color in some of these, and I think a yellow and brown would be nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and color in my pumpkin. And the nice thing I like about these Copic markers is that you can use 2 sides. There's a finer side here that I could use. And that will help you with the smaller illustrations. These are excellent markers. These are actually my daughter's markers because she's a graphic arts major. So she has a ton of these. And I've heard about them, but I've never really used them. It's almost like it's almost like a paintbrush in a marker, basically. That's how I can describe this. And look how cute that is. Who says you can't have yellow pumpkins? And I'm just gonna add a little bit of brown on here, still using that fine point. I'm just gonna make a little bit of an outline just to give it a little bit of color. And it doesn't matter if I go outside of the edges because I'm going to be cutting them out. There's so much you could do with these stamps. It's amazing. I think I'm just addicted to stamping because it's so much fun. Okay, so one of the longer processes is actually cutting out these illustrations. So I'm using a really small scissor to cut these out. And I really like the way that brown and yellow looks. It's really going to enhance my tile. Now, just to let you know, Maymay has a Stamp of the Month Club, and I will put the information to that below. And she also has an Etsy store. So please go ahead and check that out. I'll put the link below. And like I said before, these stamps are photopolymer, which means they're see-through, so you can actually see where you're stamping. But for something like this, you could also color in your illustration. So it gives you options. And I'm so glad to be part of her design team. And there are 5 other crafters on her design team. So I'm also going to put the information to their YouTube channels below. And it's really nice to see how each of us uses these stamps to create projects. And this is probably the longest process, but I enjoy it all the same. And I'm still trying to keep my little black border on there. And what I'm going to do is, I've got a black marker here. I'm just going to gently go along the outside because I do want a little bit of a border on there. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I do want to have that border around it. Okay. So let's see what that's going to look like. Before I even start putting more Mod Podge, another layer of Mod Podge on my towel, I want to see what this would actually look like. So I just kind of put that there and there. And that's going to look really cute. Look at that. And imagine you can use these as coasters once you actually cover it with the Mod Podge. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I am going to add some Mod Podge onto this layer, and that'll seal the top of this on and give it a nice shine. And so I always do it in one direction. And don't be alarmed if there's a little bit of a cloud over it. It dries clear, which is really nice. And so if you notice, it's kind of cloudy right now, and that's okay. But it's going to dry nicely. And now what I'm going to do is put my pumpkins on there. And what I wasn't sure about with these stamps is whether or not it would smear once I put the Mod Podge on it. So even if I leave it for about 2 or 3 minutes after coloring in with the markers or even stamping, it doesn't smear, which is really cool. And so I'm going to go back over this with another layer, but I'm going to give this about 15 minutes to dry. So my tile is all dry, and I put that extra coat on it, and I don't know if you can see that shine on it. Look at that. And that's with putting 2 coats on there, and it's pretty dry right now. Usually I recommend at least 24 hours, because even though it's dry, I still feel a little bit of kind of sticky. Just a little bit. But look how cute that looks. And so I'm going to do another one for you. And for this one, I've got a nice little polka dot paper. Got some pumpkins that I went ahead and I already cut it out to save time. And this is that pumpkin right there. And so these stamps are very, very versatile. And so I figured I'm just kind of lining it up the way I think I might want it. And I'm also going to use this leaf right here. I think that's going to look nice, and I'm going to do that one in a brown color. And I'm just going to go around the edges with that one to make it look real nice. And right in the center, I'm going to use this sticker right here. I already removed it. I'm going to use this stamp right here called Howdy Pumpkin. So I think that's going to look really nice. So once again, I'm going to take my Mod Podge, and sorry about the glare, those overhead lights. If I turn it off, it'll be too dark. And so I'm going to put some Mod Podge on here. So I'm not sure if you can see this really well, but I put Howdy Pumpkin in the middle, and I decided with those leaves to just go all the way around the border. So I thought that looked nice, and I'm going to bring the pumpkins closer in when I Mod Podge my next layer. So what I'm going to do is make sure that it's centered and has a little bit of a border around it. And I already have my Mod Podge already on the base. And I'm going to go ahead and smooth that out. Make sure your fingers don't have any ink on them. Keep it nice and clean and neat. Okay, and now the next layer of Mod Podge I'm going to put on here. And I'm going to put my orange pumpkins on there. And this is just so much fun. I like making these. I've done these before with pictures using photos. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put my pumpkins on. And you see it's a little cloudy, but it is going to dry clear. These will make great coasters. Or you can do a set of 4. And give them away as a gift. And aren't these stamps just the cutest? They're so adorable. And so I'm going to let this dry just a little bit so that these are set. And I'm really liking the way that orange and brown looks with the brown leaves, the brown print for Howdy Pumpkin, and the polka dot print. So yeah, really feel free to mix up prints. I think that's one of the nice things is with this designer paper, you can just mix things up. You could layer them just like you would layer a greeting card as well. And so we're going to give this a few minutes to dry, and we're going to come back and I'll show you some more creations that I made. Okay, so our Mod Podge tiles are all done. And look how beautiful that looks. And it's nice and dry. And that's the one with the pumpkins and the Howdy Pumpkin stamp. Here's another one I layered the pumpkins, and then I did a little bit of an outline with the leaves. And the pumpkins, I used those Copic markers to color those in. So nice versatility. Let's see if you can see the detail. And here's that first one again. A bushel and a peck. And that is just so adorable. I like the way that yellow and brown look. And here's, I just actually took 2 stamps, the one that said fall and the one that said harvest, and I mixed them together. And then I used the pumpkin stamps and the pattern paper, and all I did was I just cut them out. And it matches. So there's so much versatility with these stamps. And I wanted to show you one more that I made. And I used a 6x6 tile to do this one. And I just went around the border with harvest. And I just put pumpkins on there. And I used one of the stamps, the scarecrow stamp. And it works. And that's a larger tile. This is a 6x6. And I mix it up with the paper. So there's so much you can do with these. And the nice thing is, if you want, you can get one of these stands. And I got this stand from the dollar store. And you can just stand it up on a little pedestal like that. Or you can make these as gifts and put them all together with a ribbon around it and give it as a set of coasters. So there's so much you could do with these. I'm going to put all the information in the description box. Please subscribe, like, and comment. Also, please visit the other channels that are part of this design team. There's 5 designers in addition to me, and I will list their channel and blog below. And next month I'll be doing another one of these projects using another stamp set, and so that's going to be a surprise. So I really look forward to doing that one as well. And also I put the Stamp of the Month Club information for Maymay, and also her Etsy store as well. The information is below in the description box. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye.